that should be enough, right? That should just get me out of bed every morning with a big ass smile on my face and go, yeah, you got it. You got everything. You got everything that you could, that really means anything. It could all go at any minute. I got it all now, but it may not be here tomorrow. The thought that it could all go away at some point just terrifies me. And I feel like if I just keep the chasing, I want the bigger business because that'll give us more cushion. So we'll be okay financially. And if it all goes south, well, then it won't hurt as much because I'll have more of a cushion, right? Things like that. I find that part terrifying. Yeah. The idea that there's no guarantees, right? It could be for things completely out of my control. Mm-hmm. It could all go away at some point.
Yeah.
You are listening to The New Man, Beyond the Macho Jerk and the New Age Wimp. Your host is men's coach Tripp Lanier.
Do you feel like you should always be doing better with work, life, etc.? Do you spend more time worrying about the future instead of enjoying the present? And is there a deep fear that the success you have could be snatched away at any moment? Today, I have a fun conversation with a business owner who's done well for himself, but regardless of what he accomplishes, it never feels like enough. Instead of enjoying his good fortune, he's constantly focusing on the future. What's missing? What needs to be better? What threats may be coming? And as a result, he's chronically stressed and overwhelmed. So we dive into his mindset to see what's driving this constant need for more. And most importantly, we help him clarify a version of success that he can actually enjoy. What you're about to hear is an actual coaching call. The person being coached volunteered and gave explicit permission to have our conversation recorded for this podcast. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well.
Pretty funny. I feel like I know you. I started listening to the podcast, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 10, maybe even longer. I was doing a lot of 6-hour drives every week. And podcasts are your friends. I would listen to music, and music would put me to sleep. So I started podcasting, and I found the New Man podcast pretty early on.
Wow.
And I've been listening to it, pretty religiously.
Wow.
Since then, since like 2012.
Wow. Well, that's great to hear. I love it. You're like, well, the podcast will make me sleep, so I will listen to music. I like that it was the other way. So that's very cool. Right on. Well, I'm curious for you. I was going through your email and the notes that you sent me again, but I'm curious where you are now and what feels like a great place to start our conversation. Where are you?
Yeah. I when I got your email, I responded because I'm at a place right now where I'm feeling more stressed than I usually do. I'm probably your pretty typical middle-aged guy, right? With a pretty typical life. I mean, I'm married, kids, got a business, things like that. I'm feeling like I could do a better job. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed with all the stuff that a middle-aged guy has going on. And I'm feeling like I could be doing better by my family. Not that I'm doing bad. I don't think I'm doing bad, but I feel like I could be doing better. And that's really why I responded back to your email.
Right. How would you know that you were doing better? What's the metric for yourself in terms of doing better for yourself and for your family?
That's interesting. That's a good one to measure, right? Time with my teenage daughters. Yeah, that's because that's probably been the biggest change over the last couple of years. I got it was blindsided a few years back by how much it changes when they hit the teenage years. And all of a sudden they're adults, right? They think they know it all. I remember, what I was like when I was 15. Sure, I didn't need my parents, right? I know it all, and I didn't really expect that from them. And they're awesome kids. I still have, good relationships with them, but like even just getting my 16-year-old to, hey, let's go out and grab some lunch, right? Let's go shopping. Let's go skiing today. Right? Let's see, we got nothing going on. There's fresh powder out there. Let's just go skiing. No, Dad, no, Dad, no, Dad. All right, we'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow comes around. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm going over to my friend's house this afternoon. I mean, how do you quantify I'm doing right by my kids? But there's something about just being able to spend time with them, knowing that I'm connecting with them and I'm making the most of that time. And I think that's, as a dad, that's probably the one. If I had to come up with a metric, that would be the only one that I could really track.
Mm-hmm. I like that because it was vague before, right? I could do better.
Yeah.
That seems like one of those tricky places of better or more.
Yeah.
That voice within us that's never satisfied.
That's interesting, right? Yeah, because better, you're always going to be able to do better.
Right.
That's like you're never going to get there. Well, one of the guys who works for me, these guys worked for me for about 13 years now. We were talking a couple of years back, and I'm going on about, we need to fix this. We can do more here. We can service these clients better here. And he stops and he goes, hey, just sit back for a minute, man. Think of the kind of stuff we were 10 years ago, what we needed to do. We were down here at the bottom. Now we're way up here. He's like, step back. Take stock of how far we've come over 10 years. That's not something that comes very easily, right? You're always looking at what's next. You're not really looking at where you come from or what you've accomplished.
That was a really powerful statement you just made, and I want you to you use second person language, and I want you to use first person language. I.
Okay.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
I will be willing to do that.
I don't take stock in things.
I don't,
or whatever the statement was, but I want you to take ownership of that.
Take ownership of that. I guess I really don't. I really don't. Forget the I guess. I really don't. I'm very focused on, what's coming next, right? Reading the next, self-help book or blog or something. How do I take my marriage to the next step? How do I take my parenting to the next step? And I don't think I ever look back and go, well, what was I like 5 years ago? How much progress have I made?
So there's this future focus.
Yeah.
And as you're pointing out, there's not much of a looking back, like where were we?
Yeah.
But I'm also missing just present moment appreciation for where things are.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not much of a live in the moment guy.
What's going on in the moment for you that makes it more attractive to be in the future where there's more and better?
There's something about always having something to accomplish or always having that next goal and working towards that next goal that's exciting. And not to say the moment isn't exciting or couldn't be exciting, because pretty often the moments are great, but I've never really thought of that. I've never really thought of what it is about looking forward that makes it more interesting than just sitting there in the present moment and enjoying that.
It can be a habit sometimes. We're just always more is the answer to what we're doing. Well, I'm just going to do more of what I've got. But if we're not really connected to why, then it can be a little empty. It's a bit like that rat racer mentality, which is there's something in the future, but right now is not acceptable. Right now,
I definitely have that rat racer mentality, and I've had that for as long as I can remember. Right. I started my business almost 16 years ago. And it's always been about getting to the next milestone, right? When am I going to hit the next plateau and number of clients or the amount of revenue or something? It's always chasing that. And again, we hit a nice milestone a couple of months ago, and immediately I was doing it in my head. Okay, 2.5 years before I can hit the next milestone. I think my wife and I celebrated that milestone for dinner that night. Hey, let's have a toast. We made it. That was it. By the next day, it was, what's it going to take to get to the next one?
I don't want to make a problem if it's not a problem, but is it a problem for you to be in that rat racer mentality, or that like as soon as you accomplish a milestone, there's a clink of the glass and then you're onward again? I don't. If it's not a problem, let's not make it a problem.
So I've noticed it recently. Maybe it's getting to be a little bit of a problem when I kind of went, all right, all right, so like 2 years, 3 years, whatever, till I hit the next milestone. It's kind of like, I don't know if I have the energy to do that. Right? What if it was the first time I ever thought, what if I just want to sit here? What if we're good right here? Right? Let me just maintain where we are and enjoy this. And immediately I started thinking about, well, all these other guys and like the race, right? Well, I could do that, but then this guy's he's gonna get in front of me. I don't want to end the game behind him, so I got to keep going, right? So I own a franchise. So there's like 200 other franchise owners, right? And I'm one of the top. But like as soon as it's like I was saying, if I stop, I'm like, oh, I see all these guys right behind me. I'm like, that thought of them leapfrogging me and hitting that next milestone, the idea of just sitting back and enjoying what we've accomplished and where we are now, it almost felt wrong. And I wasn't sure I wanted to keep doing it. It's like it wasn't, I wanted to just sit and kick back, but it felt like if I did that, it didn't feel right. It felt like the way other people would, like there was definitely this other people looking at me going, oh, he just couldn't cut it. Right. He just stopped. He couldn't cut it. He couldn't keep running.
Okay. Let me see if I've got this. So there's this, I get that it's exciting to be moving towards goals and to be on that growth path and to see things happening and changing. And that's exciting. Right.
Yeah.
And then when there's a hint of wanting to slow down and just sit back and enjoy what you've got, there's an element of fear that comes up. Somebody's going to come along and leapfrog you. And then there was also something you said about it being wrong, as if you're being judged, that this was where we somehow judge you. And is it that you were, I want you to help me understand, is it that you're weak or that you were a loser or that you couldn't cut it? What does that mean? If we were to sit back, in the stands as we're watching this game, and then we're like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
He's just sitting, he's just enjoying himself. What's going on?
He's supposed to be playing. He can't be just sitting there enjoying himself, right?
What is happening? And I want to understand wrong from that perspective.
There's definitely that alpha male thing going on. Everybody everybody pays attention to number one, right? Very few people know who number 2, 3, and 4 is, right? And you certainly don't know number 5 and beyond there. And there's definitely that sense of, well, I can be number 1. I have been. I can be. I'm still up there. I don't want to be that guy who was, up there at number 1 or number 2, and then, faded into the background, right? As much as I hate Tom Brady, the guy he almost knew when to exit the game. He might have gone one season too far, but he almost knew when to get out, right?
As a Bucks fan, I'll let that pass.
Jets fan all the way. Sad.
Okay. Well, again, we don't want to make anything wrong here, but I want to help you understand what keeps you in the game. And it sounds like there's a performance aspect to this, of how you're perceived and the power that comes along with that, and the threat of being irrelevant or losing power or losing status is what keeps you pushing, keeps you moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was on my own, independent guy for a number of years. I was doing okay, nothing great. And then 15 years ago or so, I joined the franchise. So now there's, like 100 other guys doing what I'm doing. And immediately, I remember when I went to that first awards dinner, right? And I saw the guys stand up who had $20,000. The guys who made $20,000 that month, or $50,000 in 1 month. Or I saw the guy who stood up and made $100,000 that month, and I looked at him. I'm like, that's got to be me, right? I got to be standing up there with that $100,000 ribbon on there. And then there was the pins for the guy who crossed $1 million in revenue that year, and that whole awards dinner that first year, and I just remember getting jazzed. And it was so different from when I was doing it on my own, because doing it on your own, there's nothing to compare me against. It's the benchmark is, can I pay my bills this month, and do I have a little bit of extra money to maybe have some fun? Mm-hmm. And when I was part of that bigger group, well, now the benchmark is, who landed the most new business this year. Right? Who hit the next revenue number? And that became my goal. I was all right. I picked my year that I'm going to hit that first $1 million revenue point. Right. And I knew exactly, how many guys were making more than me and how many guys. And, I knew on the ladder, that was my focus. Climbing that ladder, right? And still is, 15 years later, still trying to keep climbing higher. And I want to look like a good guy to the guys who are below me, but at the same time, I want to make sure the guys who are below me don't pass me. Right? I want to help you out, but only so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we're talking, I appreciate how much you love that competition and how much energy is there for you, and how that's fun, how that brings a lot of energy to the work that you're doing. Not a lot of guys feel that energy in their work. I think that's great. And then I'm reminded of the question that I asked you, of what's this metric when it comes to doing a better job or doing more with something like being a dad?
Yeah.
And it's having me wonder, who are you if you're not competing? Who are you if there's not this scoreboard? Do you have the choice to turn off the scoreboard? Are there other aspects of you that you get to inhabit, or is that kind of all there is?
Is that all there is? I hope not. I hope that's not all there is. That would suck.
Why? Why would it suck? Why would it suck?
There's other things. It doesn't always have to be a competition, right? I have I got great kids. I got an amazing relationship with their kids. I do feel very happy being a dad. I feel very satisfied. I feel like for as much as anybody knows how to raise teenage girls, which is nobody knows how to raise teenage girls, for as much as we try to know, feel like I'm doing a good job. And that doesn't feel like a competition. It's not like, oh, I got to be a better dad than the next guy, right? I don't want to be I don't want to be a better the other dads, right, in their circles. I don't have this desire to be a better dad. I just want to be the right dad for my kids. I want to be the best husband I can for my wife. Right? I'd like to be the only husband for my wife, right? That makes you the best, right? I want to be the one she keeps, right? Yeah.
And so we're back to what constitutes being the best. What is the best version of you?
Yeah.
What is the best? How do we know what that is when it comes to these relationships?
That's a really good question. I can tell you for years, most of my relationships were marked with drama and stress. I feel a certain amount of pride in the fact that that's not part of them anymore. But whatever that was, it's behind me now. And that's buddies of mine saying my best friend, he calls it the great transformation. It's like I've witnessed it over the last 5 years, the great transformation. He's like, and this is a guy who's known me since I was like 12. You know, there's a lot less stress and anger and things just feel a lot simpler now. Yet at the same time, I still feel like, I could be more. I feel like, I feel like I am, hey, I'm a good dad. Maybe I'm a great dad. I don't know, but I feel like I could still be doing better with the college hunt or spending time with them, or should I be, should I know more about their friends and their social lives and then schoolwork and stuff? And I do, but I always feel like there's more I could be doing.
I've got a feeling you probably felt that way before they were born.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
That never enough voice.
Never enough for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's caused problems over time. So.
Well, yeah. And as you started, I remember where we started our call today of feeling stressed and overwhelmed and imagining that there's a voice that never rests, where there's this ambiguous more, better, right? It's just like we can't enjoy what we have. It's not safe. There's something about it that feels unsafe, and you got to keep doing more. You got to keep. There's something unsettling about that as you talk about it. Maybe that's my own shit. It's my own not enough. Does that line up with? Does that line up with yours at all?
Oh, you said unsettling. That felt like it hit. Okay. So unsafe. I don't know. I gotta maybe unsafe.
Yeah, I was thinking about somebody's coming to take my lunch away from me if I relax.
Shit! Oh hell yeah!
Okay.
hell yeah! Right.
All right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean that's. I'm my wife will be the first one to stand up and tell you I'm a jealous guy. Right. Okay. Not crazy jealous. Not like, she's got to sit facing the wall or anything like that. But
like you're jealous of attention towards your wife from others?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, if she'll if she'll mention, hey, I met this guy, whatever. Nothing wrong, right?
Sure.
I was talking to this other guy I met at a networking event or something.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, right? And he'll come up a second time. It's like, wait a minute. Why is this guy, this guy's got your email address now? It's like, well, she's like, I'm a businesswoman, dude. Of course he's got my email address. He's a potential client. Well, what the hell?
Time for
how
him
do I
to
know?
die.
He's not just trying to, have lunch with you. He's not interested in being your client. He wants to take you out to lunch and all. And it's like, dude, stop telling yourself the stories. But yeah, there's that, that alpha male thing, this guy will be the next, he'll be better than me, right? Maybe he'll be funnier, or he'll have, bigger business, or, cuter kids, or not cuter kids, but you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So there's that.
Is this part of the overwhelm and the stress? Is that there's always this unknown thing, a sense of the unknown, which is coming and possibly unsettling things or threatening what you do have?
I hate the unknown.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's where all the threats always come from.
Okay. Got it. And are you in touch with any of that right now, just in your body? Like, do you feel that like, it's just not okay? I'm constantly vigil, constantly on the watch.
Yeah, I feel it's a very physical feeling, actually. I kind of feel this, not like heart attack pain or nothing, but I'll be, if I'm sitting at my computer working, and I things are happening, and I just feel it start building. It's kind of like just physically shoulders, the back, my shoulders, and it gets in there. And if I don't get up and walk away from my desk, 10 minutes, get outside, go for a short run, or even just get up and move or something, it becomes overwhelming.
Okay. Got it. And can you imagine a life without that?
I would love to. I would love to have that. Yeah.
Well, slow down. Okay, that's the first answer. But
Yeah.
What if that overwhelming thing wasn't there?
Mhm.
Would it be okay?
Yeah, would it be okay, right? I guess that depends why, right? Is it not there because I've decided, hey, I really like the present, and I'm just cool with this being, who I am, just staying me now, and just living this life. So there was no more overwhelm of constantly having to run and get better. Um, I think that would be cool, but I can't imagine. I can't imagine not, chasing that next thing yet. So I don't
Okay.
know. Or is it that it's just, I'm just so damn great at the chase, right? That it no longer stresses me out.
Okay. It's interesting. You talked about that moment where you saw those people on stage and they were being recognized for their accomplishments. And there was something about that story where I can imagine like that programmed success in your brain. Like that was success.
Mm-hmm.
There was a version of that, let's say.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're that guy. And you have versions of that success. And along with it is still this sense of stress and overwhelm and never enough.
Yeah.
Is that okay for you?
And you got to keep that success, right? I got to work to keep it.
Is that
Oh.
success? Is that? But I want to help you because what I want to help you do is define what your success would be.
Mhm.
So if your version of success is yes, I get to be that person who's recognized and at the top of the food chain there, but I get to also feel chronically overwhelmed and stressed out.
Yeah.
If that's cool with you, then we don't have a problem here.
Yeah, I don't really want to feel chronically overwhelmed and stressed out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity here to redefine what success means for you at this stage of your life now. What that means for you. There's what that was on that stage.
Mhm.
And then what does it mean for you to essentially define it on your own terms or to define what your game is. And you may not be ready to play your own game to define what that game is for yourself.
Mhm.
We tend to live in this duality. Well, if I'm not playing that game, then I'm completely just screwed. I'm not doing anything and I'm a total waste. So we create these really weird, catastrophic, all or nothing scenarios.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's some space here for you to say, look, here I am at this stage in my life. I'm able to do X, Y, and Z. I'm able to earn A, B, and C. And now what this means for me is I also want to experience my life differently. Does that appeal to you at all?
It does. It does. There are times where I feel just not that I'm full of shit, but like I'm just being selfish. I love my life the way it is. I really do. Right. I have amazing kids. I'm married to the right woman. Took a couple of times to get there. I found that woman that I am meant to be with, right? And I just go, man, I hope my kids find what I got now, right? I'm running a business that pays all the bills and gives us a little bit of extra every month. So I'm not, we're not flying first class or anything like that, but I'm not worried about putting gas in my tank. I am blessed, man. I've got all that. And when I look at it that way, I just kind of go, man, just enjoy that, right? That should be enough, right? That should just get me out of bed every morning with a big ass smile on my face and go, yeah, you got it. You got everything. You got everything that you could, that really means anything. It could all go at any minute. I got it all now, but it may not be here tomorrow, right? I don't want that. I don't want it to not be here tomorrow. I know how good it feels to have all this right now. There's definitely imposter syndrome. I know for a fact I'm not worthy of this. I got a hell of a lot more than I deserve to have. The thought that it could all go away at some point just terrifies me. And I feel like if I just keep the chasing, I want the bigger business because that'll give us more cushion. So we'll be okay financially. And if it all goes south, well, then it won't hurt as much because I'll have more of a cushion, right? Things like that. I find that part terrifying. Yeah. The idea that there's no guarantees, right? It could be for things completely out of my control. Mm-hmm. It could all go away at some point.
Yeah. And is it okay to say that maybe one of the strategies for you when we face that great uncertainty, like uncertainty with a capital U, that the strategy, whether it makes sense or not, but the strategy is just keep pushing. Do not slow down because it's not safe.
Yeah. That's certainly what it feels like.
Yeah. That's the sense that I get, is that it's just not okay.
Yep.
Slowing down is it's just not okay. And then to enjoy it, wait a second, I don't even think I deserve this. So that's another reason why I'm going to keep it out at arm's length that I said, that you said there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm starting to get a sense of why it's so damn hard for you to enjoy what you got.
I feel like there's whether it's, God or the all powerful or some being up there, right, is going to look down and go, oh, wait, this he's not supposed to have all this. No, that was a mistake. I'm sorry. We meant to give this to the other guy.
Okay. Right. So there's this, we can laugh about it, but there's this ability to receive what you have. This ability to receive. So there's all this push. I can push, but can I receive? I can effort, but can I receive? Those are two forces that can work together. So I'm able to output things, but I'm not able to receive things. And my outputting things is in an effort to outrun the thing that we don't know what's coming, but something's coming, so I better outrun it. And then whatever I do have, it's not okay for me to have. And the divine powers are going to figure it out and take it away from me anyway. So I gotta run like hell before they figure it out.
I just gotta keep running. Yeah. I was thinking back to this thing I did. I went to a seminar a bunch of years ago. It was a guy named T. Harv Eker. He wrote The Millionaire Mind. And he had us do this thing where you just stand face to face with somebody and they would compliment you and you weren't allowed to respond. You just had to take the compliment in, and you couldn't say thank you. You couldn't say, oh, that's great, you too, or something. And it was the hardest thing, right? To have someone come up and you go, hey man, you look great today, real confident, real strong and everything else. And I can't just receive that, right? I gotta, oh, thank you. No, damn it, I can't respond. And it was so hard to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's all this good fortune.
Yeah.
And can't receive it.
And when I look at it that way, I'm thinking, damn, I'm an ass. I got all this good fortune. I should just shut up and be happy.
Well, there's let's bring some sympathy to this, because there's there's a part of this which is just we can be outside of our comfort zone. Gay Hendricks wrote a great book called The Big Leap. And in The Big Leap, he talks about our upper limit problem. So we have a thermostat, and we like things to be at a certain place in our lives. And if things get too good, we don't like it. We'll disrupt it. And you can easily see where people have destroyed their lives, where they've had a lot of good fortune. They win the lottery, or the guy wins a championship, and then 3 months later he's blown everything up in his life or whatever. There's these sad stories, right?
Yeah.
But what's happened is, hey, he was out of what was familiar for him. It wasn't familiar. And so if we grew up in environments and our thermostat got set with a certain amount of drama or misfortune or whatever, we might still be operating through that lens.
Yeah.
And so here's all this good fortune, and we're just going to keep it on the doorstep. Like, that belongs to somebody else.
Yeah. 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 I'm definitely operating a little bit above where my thermostat had been set.
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable.
It does feel uncomfortable, right? It's a little too hot in here today.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why when I was sitting with you, it's like something feels unsettled.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I can sit here and I can receive my good fortune. And knowing there's great uncertainty too.
Yeah. That would be what my buddy calls the great transformation, the great mellowing, right? Because that was I got to that better place, and I got into the uncomfortable zone of life's not supposed to be quite, this good. I'm supposed to struggle more, right? Things like that. And it mellowed me out for sure. And it also, it highlighted all that, that unsettled of, how do I maintain this now, right? Who am I going to let down if I can't maintain this? I got kids. I have my wife. I got my brother, my parents, and I can't let them down. I've raised the bar here. Now I got to work to stay at this new level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we get to help you define what success means for you.
Yeah.
You've got greater responsibility. You've got greater, more good fortune is coming your way. But you've also busted your ass. But I also heard that thing in there. There's something in there. It's like, I need to struggle too.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to struggle. I need to work hard to do that, right? If I'm not struggling, if I'm not working hard, if it all comes too easy, that's not right. I must be missing something. I must be doing something wrong.
All right. I want you to tell yourself, will you make shit harder than it needs to be?
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely. I mean, hopefully less than I used to, but oh man, I was a master of self-destruction for years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what if what we're playing with here is some parts of you, not all of you, but some parts of you that are doing their best to navigate this scary world. And they think that complexity and struggle and difficulty somehow even the ledger. They balance the ledger and they make it okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't have to be all of you. That doesn't have to be all of you. And I can imagine a world where we could bring some of that horsepower that you are expending on trying to create struggle and make shit hard and complex, more so than it needs to be, to identify the real threats and deal with them head on.
You mean not everything is a threat?
It can be if you want. If that's what lights you up, I wouldn't want to take that away from you.
I'd rather not. I was doing a call with this guy who was a mentor of mine for a number of years, and this is probably like 8 years ago, and I was going through some struggles, and he called me out on a few things, and the one line I remember from that call is he goes, man, you got to remember, you can't fight with everybody. I'm like, but it feels so good to fight with everybody.
Yeah. And for you, what's enjoyable about that fighting?
Oh man, I'm happy to say it I don't enjoy it like I used to, for sure.
Okay.
But there was that, there's an adrenaline rush, right? There's energy, there's power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm for what it's worth, I'm really good at fighting. I'm really good at arguing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at dominating a conversation and things like that. Those are good powers. If you put those powers to good,
Yeah.
that's okay. But there's
Yeah.
there's a big rush with that, and I'm sure I've enjoyed that. Having a
Mm-hmm.
fight just because I know I can win it.
Yeah. Yeah. What I want for you is choice. Because right now, if I don't have the choice to be a fighter or not, if I don't have the choice to relax and enjoy what I have, if I don't have the choice to be present with the people I love, and I tell myself I want to be a better father and husband, but I'm actually not present with them because I'm always in the future. I'm always assessing my performance or whatever it is. It takes me away from them.
Yeah.
I want you to have choice here. And what I'm recognizing is that there's a part of you that is kind of always ready for a threat. Like it's just kind of waiting for this next unseen thing to come along and challenge you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you have me thinking about something that great experience I had last year, right? So my daughter was getting her driver's license. She had to do 40 hours of driving with an adult before she could take her road test. And her mom didn't, she didn't want to do the driving with her. She's like, so I got 40 hours in the car with my 15-year-old daughter, one-on-one time. And there was there's assessing threats, okay? There's threats all around, right? When you're driving with a 15-year-old. But you talk about being in the moment, right? I mean, you're right there in the moment. And it was just her and I for weeks, driving around, talking to each other. It was very easy. There was really no stress in those moments. Those were some of the greatest moments that I've had in the last year. And I got my next daughter just got her learner's permit. And I am looking forward to those 40 hours with her. And if I could encapsulate that and go, this is the reward, right? This is the important stuff, right? This is, forget the having to make the next milestone and don't worry about what threats might be coming down. Just enjoy those 40 quality hours that I had connecting with someone who was so important to me. That would be great. That would be great if I could take that and just apply that to all these other areas of my life. That'd be fantastic.
As you were talking, I was imagining, and I don't mean this to sound morbid, but many years from now, when you're at the end of your life and we're looking back on what you are most grateful for, I could imagine you would tell me the story of being able to ride in the car with your daughters. And
oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there any part of you that can sense or be in touch with that part of you that is at the end of his life and is grateful for the life that he lived? What would make him grateful for the choices you're making now? What choices would he want you to make now? I'm not saying we have to do them all, but would he want you to do things differently? Can you get a sense of that?
So if I'm talking, if it's 100-year-old me,
110-year-old version of you. Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, pull your head out of your ass. Or if he's like,
right.
no, you're doing great. Keep fighting everybody. Or what is he saying to you?
Yeah. I think what he's saying to me is all those stories that we put in our heads, that's where a lot of the threats come from. I'll see something and I'll make up a whole damn movie over one little thing, and most of it is a threat. And 100-year-old me would tell me to just stop telling yourself those stories, man. Stop looking at the worst possibility ever. right? Because you see something and I immediately go, what's the worst thing that could be from that?
Oh,
And that's what I got to protect against. And that guy would tell me, get your head out of your ass and look at whatever that was and think the best of it, right? Stop thinking it's something that it's a threat or a potential threat, and you got to beat it down.
Okay. And I can imagine he would, there's a middle path here for you, which is, hey, I can identify that there are threats. There's things that I need to pay attention to, but this catastrophic thing or this idea that somebody's coming out to get me or that kind of stuff sounds like it might be, maybe you could identify a line where it's like, oh, I could smell it. Once it goes across this line, I know that.
Across that line, then I can get my back up, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What else is he telling you?
He's reminding me of what my youngest one said recently. I overheard her talking to a friend, and she said to her friend, yeah, my dad, he never yells. And I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. I yell. What the hell, man? And I was like, it's got me thinking. I'm like, when did I stop yelling? I have no idea when it happened, but my kid's perception of me is I'm a guy that doesn't yell. And that thrilled me. That absolutely thrilled me. And I think that 100-year-old me is reminding me that my perception of myself is probably a hell of a lot tougher on me than everyone else, than the people who are closest to me, than their perception of me. I'm probably a heck of a lot tougher on myself than and see myself in a much harsher light than they do.
Yeah. As we're talking here, I just get how much love you have. We started this conversation and it was competing and it was just like crushing things and just attacking it. And I was like, you're just a big lover. You got so
Don't tell
much
anybody.
love, man. Yeah.
Kids and the right partner in life will do that for you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then what I get that can eclipse that love is this fear. Things aren't okay or things won't be okay. And there's a sense of powerlessness. I won't be able to do anything about it or whatever. Like it has us it pulls us away from that love or that ability to love and the ability to receive that love.
Well, that's the powerlessness, right? It's the can someone pull that love away, right? Can something happen that's gonna take that away? And it's very easy to focus on that. Well, I got to defend against that, right? I got to defend against someone taking all this good stuff, this love, this amazing relationships and everything that I got. I got to defend against something else taking them away and losing those things.
Is that true?
Probably not.
Coming along? No,
probably
really.
Not.
Somebody out there plotting right now, like they've got the whiteboard and
you don't
they're
think so? No.
They're coming to get it. They're coming to get your life.
But it feels that way sometimes. It does. And maybe it's just fear of what it would be like, if it were to happen. But it definitely feels that way sometimes.
Did that happen to you already?
I mean, I went through a pretty ugly divorce, right?
Was that part of your life before that?
This was 12 years ago or so, right? Okay. And I mean, it was ugly. It was, War of the Roses, kind of ugly. And it's good. And we're good now. We co-parent really well, and I'm really glad that we got to that point, right? Because we're taking care of it. We're doing what's right for the kids together. But there was that big threat during that time where I thought I was gonna see my kids, Wednesday nights and every other weekend. And man, that just scared the hell out of me. Okay. That it's not who I ever pictured myself. That's not the dad I pictured myself being. I'm there. I'm the full-time dad, and but I'm also running a business, and I got to, I got to make enough money to pay the mortgage, and, time and everything else. And their mom was a stay-at-home mom. And we were, the courts aren't always friendly to that kind of situation. And there was a lot of fear for almost 2 years over where this was going to end up, and how was I going to fight to be able to stay in their lives like I wanted to. And it all ended up there. It ended up good. And their mom and I managed to get to a good co-parenting place. But yeah, I've seen that. I mean, I have felt that fear of, holy shit, this might actually become reality.
Yeah. And is it that you're still in that fight, even though that fight's not happening anymore?
The fight's not there anymore for sure. But yeah, I'm probably still feeling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's as if your nervous system hasn't gotten the message that you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a part of me that hasn't gotten the message. Right.
There's a theme through a lot of the things that we've talked about, which is I'm not okay. I'm not okay, therefore I have to do a better job as a parent. I'm not okay, I have to do a better job as a husband because so-and-so has her email address. I'm not okay because I have to continue to do better than I did last year with the business. There's an essence of this, which is right now where I am is not okay. And that's a tough place to live.
Yeah.
It can be, if things are okay and I want to create other things. It might look very similar on the outside. You might have the same exact milestones and the same exact goals for things. But the sense of who you are and where you are is, I'm already okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I got a gun to my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or there's a sniper somewhere out there in the trees and I don't know where he is.
Right.
More like that, right?
Right. I'm okay, and I'm doing these things just because I want to do them versus, I'm in fight or flight mode, defend my turf mode, and I got to do these things to fight to keep the barbarians away.
And everything's a threat.
Everything's a threat. Yeah. Yeah. I never really thought of it that way. The everything's a threat, but there's truth to that. There's definitely truth to that. The way I see a lot of stuff, especially stuff I don't know, stuff that's new to me. Yeah.
I don't think this is going to get unpacked in one conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's common. And it's common with a lot of the successful, quote, successful guys, men and women that I talk to, which is that underneath that success and that drive and that ambition is the need to be okay. Because where I am right now is not okay.
Yeah.
And usually that not okay thing got planted somewhere early on.
Yeah.
So there's just always this felt sense of not okay. And so the expression of that was, then I'm going to do above and beyond what needs to be done in order to be okay. And it looks amazing. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to shit on ambition, or that's not the point. Right. But it is heartbreaking to see people create the lives that they want and not be able to receive it, not be able to enjoy it, not be able to be present for it. That's the sad part, right? So as we talk to the 100-plus-year-old version of you that's looking back on you right now.
Yeah.
And
I know what he's telling me. I know what he's telling me because like let's just talk kids again, or time with my wife. And when I'm there in the moment, like the 40 hours driving with my daughter, or just hanging out, with my other ones. I love those moments. But as soon as those moments are over, I don't keep that feeling. I'm always, as soon as, I've moved, to times moved on to the next moment, then it's kind of fight and defend again. There's no relishing that, there's no like afterglow or anything else like that. It's immediately moving on to the next.
That's where I would want you to have choice. I would never want to take that fighter away from you. I would never want to encourage that, but I would want you to have choice there. That if you needed to strap on and get shit done and take somebody down, whatever you had to do, right? Yeah, of course.
Right.
And also not live in a world where everything's not okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Like for you to have that choice where you can like, yeah, I am okay.
Yeah.
I am okay.
I'm taking Taekwondo with my youngest daughter right now.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that Seinfeld episode where Kramer was taking karate
With the
and he's
kids.
with like a bunch of 5-year-olds, and then there's me. Yeah. So we're taking Taekwondo, and
Are you beating the shit out of kids?
She, they pair you with guys your size. So, well, my daughter's a belt ahead of me because she started, a year earlier, and she loves the fact that she is a belt ahead of me and
Sure.
always will be.
Right.
But so I'm there, and I'm testing for my first stripe, my yellow stripe on my white belt. And I'm testing, which means you're in front of everybody, right? And master instructor, he's like, hey, at the end of the class, he's like front and center, right? Bam. I got to do some things, right? I got to do my patterns, some kicks, some punches, and you got 25 people just watching you, and it was out of the blue. As I got off, this black belt came over to me, and he said, you will never be in a safer place than right here, right now. And I'm like, man, if I could just take that feeling and bottle that up, and I want to be able to take that out whenever I need it, and just go, yep, safe place, man, safe place right now. It's all good.
So if I were to zoom out, what I see possible for you is recalibrating your threat assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this is automatic. It's in your nervous system. It's almost hardwired. So there's different processes to do that. But that would be the first place to start, is to just interrupt the pattern instead of going immediately into that fight or flight, or yes, everything's a threat, that you would somehow have a script that would interrupt and say, well, is it? What deserves that response in my day? There might be some things that deserve that response. And then you might realize, well, there's other things that don't deserve that response. And they get to experience more of my playful side or my creative side or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it would be to interrupt that.
That's the choice you're talking about.
That would be the choice. But we can't do it if we're really convinced, our nervous system has us convinced that things are not safe.
Yeah.
And then the other part is relaxing and being able to receive the good fortune you have. Because you could be gone today. You could be gone tomorrow. This idea that one day we're going to have permission to receive it is crazy.
Yeah.
I want you to eat it up, buddy.
Yeah.
Receive it.
I should be, my dad died too young. So he died too young. He retired young, which was good, but he died like 5 years after he retired. And he was enjoying his life, but man, it was, he didn't have a lot of time to do that. And you'd think that would be enough of a message, right? Enough of a lesson. You don't know how much time you got. Not to make it morbid, but
no, I think it's necessary because we're not bullshitting anybody. I mean, all these threats can be made up, but the reality that you and I are both getting closer to our last days is true. So we don't have to be scared stiff about that, but it can inform us about how we want to live.
Yeah.
Can inform us. Which version of me do I want to bring the world today? Which version of me do I want to bring to the world today? And that you might have to slow down every 10 minutes and make that choice.
I kind of like the way that's all coming together. It's the being able to pause, right? Do that little assessment. It's this, hey, dude, there's a pretty good chance this is not a threat, right? And which version of me do I want to bring now into this moment? Right? Do I want to bring that guy who needs to fight and defend against everything? Or do I want to bring that guy who might go, hey, this could be some cool, interesting new experience that I've never seen before, or whatever. Or maybe this is just a just bring the just enjoy, this what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
That will not be easy to do.
No, it's a practice.
Yeah.
We're having a conversation right now about it. The practice would be getting in the trenches and starting to recognize when you slip into these patterns, what gets in the way or what activates them.
Yeah.
Starting to create goals or milestones for yourself that are in service of what real success looks like for you, not just the metrics on the board, but how you experience your life.
Yeah.
We would know that, okay, it's great to have more of the money and the recognition, but if it just comes with more stress and overwhelm,
Yeah.
maybe it's time to redefine that.
Yeah.
So you'd have different goals or different approaches to your goals. You'd be more in touch with how you feel and start to recognize that's more of your guidance system. And then slowing down. Well, wait a second. I've been in fight or flight for a while. How do I want to show up here?
Right.
And we might find that there's things that need to be healed or need to be addressed with, kind of deeper work. But overall, I think just your awareness of, hey, I don't have to play this old game anymore. I think that's just the biggest step. And that's what I was encouraging. It was like, do you want the choice, or what does success mean to you at this stage of your life? Getting in touch with what this older version of you has to say versus maybe the guy that's on the stage, claiming that ribbon. You're at this crossroads.
Yeah.
If you want to be, this is the time you say, okay, I've had enough of that shit.
Yeah.
All right, let's pause the conversation here and talk about some big takeaways, things we're taking away from the conversation, what's possible for him, and then some avenues for getting there. The big takeaway here is that fear is what's leading his life. There's a belief that if he's not the best or he's not constantly striving for more, then somehow he's in danger. He's decided that winning and constant growth means safety, that it means control, stability, not being a loser, whatever it might be. The cost of striving to always be the best, to always be on top, to always do more is that he feels like he's never doing enough, or that there's never enough. He's always running. He's never allowed to enjoy all the good fortune that he has. He talked about alpha male. He mentioned something about alpha male earlier on in the conversation. But I want to point out that this behavior of always being on the run, of always striving and go, running away from something, this is the behavior of a prey animal. Because he's always focused on the future, he's always focused on what could go wrong or how to protect against all of these possible threats, he's missing out on what's happening right now. And this is an easy way to end up at the end of our life feeling like we blew it. So what's possible for him? He has an opportunity here to create and play his own game, one that's not dependent upon comparisons to others in order to feel like he's worthy or to feel like he's successful. He has an opportunity here to find a deep sense of security that's not tied to being the best or always having more and more and more. And the benefit to this is that he would be able to enjoy his life fully and continue to grow simply because he enjoys it, not because he feels like there's a lion chasing him. And this would bring him peace of mind, knowing that he's actually living his life fully, that he's able to enjoy the life he has today and also be excited about what he's creating. So how would he do this? If I were coaching him, the first thing we would do is help him relax this fear. I would want to get curious with him. I'd want to help him understand it. This is essentially like a child who's scared of the monster under the bed. We take a flashlight and go look, what's really under there? And when we take a look, we realize we're reacting to things in our past instead of things that are in the present. And doing this allows our system to calm down. Hey, you know what? It's not so bad. I'm okay. The second thing we do is explore what he really wants in this life when he's not afraid. He may have never done this. He may have always been focusing on competing, being the best, striving for more and more and more, wanting to find that control, wanting to find that stability. He may not have any sense of what I call our inner authority, who he truly is, what he truly stands for, and what he stands against in this lifetime. So that process, we would start to dig in and realize who he really is when he's not eclipsed by fear. And then third, we would assess his life as a whole and figure out where he's out of integrity with this deeper part of himself, where he's out of alignment with this inner authority. What is he waiting to do? What's been eclipsed by this fear? What's not been allowed to reveal itself? We're going to stop pretending that he's going to live forever, and then we're going to start doing more of that stuff now. We baby step our way into it. Over the weeks and months, we would create challenges, we'd create missions, and little by little, he would start to gain more control over his life instead of letting fear take over. This would allow him to experience a deep sense of peace at night when his head hits the pillow because he knows he's not pissing his life away, running away from stuff. The reality is, he's got a huge heart. He's full of love. And I can't help but wonder what his life would be like if he gave himself permission to live from this deep love that he has instead of fear. By the way, I talk a lot about these ideas in This Book Will Make You Dangerous. Pick it up if you want to dive into that even further.
If these interviews are helping you, please leave a positive review on whatever podcast app you use so that others can discover the show more easily.